Hey, lovelies. Welcome back to season 4 of the You Are Immeasurable podcast. I'm Tonesha Hyde, your host, divine business alchemist, healer, sacred mirror, and warrior mystic. After taking a very sacred pause, doing some deep reflection, and a whole lot of realignment, we're bringing you this season with a whole new frequency. We're going deeper, discussing richer topics, and getting more soul-rooted than ever. Now, we're still talking divine alignment, but we're expanding it. So this season, we're reclaiming our power through our shadow work, through our intuitive healing, through our ancestral wisdom, and we're even going to talk about and explore our sacred rage. We're here to honor the truth that the journey back to ourselves isn't always pretty, but it absolutely is powerful. We're going to talk about navigating the dark feminine, connecting with the parts of ourselves that we've been taught to fear, and realigning our lives and our businesses from the inside out. Now, you know me, I keep it real. So absolutely expect some raw solo episodes, some sacred storytelling, and also some soulful guest conversations with people who are doing the deep work and living boldly in their truth. And just so you know, new episodes are now going to drop every Wednesday. And that too is part of the realignment, because sometimes you just need that midweek reminder that you are still magic, you're still worthy, and you still are on your path. So whether you're sipping tea, coffee, a glass of wine, under the moonlight, let's go ahead and raise a glass to healing, to expansion, and to becoming the most unapologetic, authentic, and immeasurable version of ourselves. Are you ready? Let's get into it. So today, everyone, I have Miss Michelle here with us to tell us all about the amazing things that she does in her business. I have your mini bio here. It says that you're a Soma Spiritual Mentor.
Yes.
You're a Reiki Master Teacher, which, we love that. And you're a multidimensional healer. So all of that to me says you love to help people get back to themselves. Yeah. You help them get centered and all of those things. You're just really all about helping them to reconnect with their body, reconnect with, I'll say, their essence. Mm-hmm. And so I want to hear it from you. Tell us what inspired you to do this work, how you got started, all of the things we want to know.
Well, you nailed it. Yeah, that is a big piece of what I do, is helping people come into greater communion with themselves and their inner divinity. That's, if I had to sum it up in one sentence, that's what it would be. I had a long healing journey. I lost my father very unexpectedly when I was 14, which kind of launched me into some trauma and some emotional maladaptations as a result of the trauma. Definitely developed some physical challenges. I developed fibromyalgia. I developed some autoimmune disorders. I'm confident at this point, from my perspective now, that it was from holding on to all that energy, all that pain that just remained unprocessed. When I was about 25, 26, some people from fundamentalist Christian cult approached me, and they had answers. They had answers what happened after death. They had answers of, if I did this, I'd get to see my dad again, and some other beloved people that had passed. And I absolutely bought it hook, line, and sinker. And I was involved in a cult for about 6 years. Really heavily involved. I was in leadership. I truly believed what I was saying. I bought it. And then I fell in love with somebody who wasn't in the cult, and that wasn't allowed. So it was basically choose him or choose us. And I already had a lot. The whole time I was in the cult, I was told I was rebellious because I questioned everything. So I already had these things in the back of my head. So at that point, when given that ultimatum, I was like, oh, I'm going to take this person that I love, that loves me, which launched me into a 12-year marriage, which was abusive. And I believe that the cult primed me for that. I definitely internalized the message of women being subservient. I very much believed that this was my punishment for leaving God, was to be abused. I stayed there for 12 years. I had 3 beautiful children. I can honestly say now I don't regret it, but at the time it was brutal. My marriage ended in a very dramatic fashion. My ex-husband actually on Mother's Day in 2012 tried to run me over with the van. That was intense. I needed that though, because I kept getting to the point of wanting to leave and then coming back, and then getting to the point of wanting to leave and then coming back. And I think the universe had to kind of kick me like, all right, Michelle, enough, go. Years and years prior to that, I had been a pagan, I had been a Wiccan, I had explored all of the earth-based spiritualities. And when my marriage broke down, I knew I needed something. And that's what called back to me, this earth-based, this energetically based spiritualities. Through a series of events, I found Reiki, and that was instrumental in my healing, learning how to control my emotions, my energy, interact with other people's energy, not get bombarded by other people's energy. All of that was just instrumental in my healing journey. Then little by little, piece by piece, modality by modality, I pulled back the layers and I reclaimed little bits of myself. I did a lot of shadow work. I went back to tarot, which is a great passion of mine. I worked again with energy. I started doing these things that I knew in my soul were what I was meant to do. And that brings me up to right about now. I've been out of my marriage since 2012, so it's been quite a while. I can honestly say that I've healed most of the wounds, but every now and again, something will pop up and I'm like, oh, you're still in there. And, healing is cyclical. We come back again and again to the same lessons. So, and each time with better tools, a deeper layer. So helping people reclaim themselves is such a passion of mine because I had to do it. I had to reclaim every bit of who I was and put together myself again in a different way, in a more powerful way, in a more unified way than I ever had before. And it's been an amazing journey. I've met some incredible people. I've had some wild experiences. And I can honestly say that helping people find themselves, empower themselves, get back to who they are before society and before, the woulda, shoulda, couldas get in there, who they are, their essence is the most fulfilling work I could ever do in my life.
Absolutely. I love all of that. And that does make so much sense to me. I truly am sorry for the loss of your father and also for what you had to experience in that abusive relationship. But I love that you refuse to stay there. You refuse to stay there. And with you saying healing is cyclical, I think a lot of us don't think of it that way because a lot of times, and I've heard people say it, and I kind of cringe because we look at a lot of times as healing is this thing that's gonna fix us. Well, who told you were broken?
Yeah.
Who told you that? I know it feels that way. A lot of time it does. And like you said, you developed all of these things because of everything that you were holding on to. And then piled on top of that is the belief system of others being dumped on you again to make you feel like the power is somewhere other than within you
Mhm.
for you to be right or for you to be okay or for you to be whole.
Yeah.
And it makes me when things are delivered in that way because it takes us a while to weed through all of that and get rid of all the crap to realize that you know what, no, I've always had it, it's in here, I just gotta get back to it.
Absolutely.
I just have to get back to it. And so that's why when we met and we started talking and you started explaining what you do and how you do it, I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I agree. We have to get back to that because in that searching for, okay, where's the power? Who has the answers? Who can show me? Who can help me? Who can do this? We're actually getting further and further and deeper and further away from the source of what we really need to tap into to heal us because it absolutely always is within us and it always has been.
Absolutely.
It's just been covered up with all the bullshit.
There's one woman who I follow. I really love her work, and she refers to it as the rubble in the line. It's just debris, detritus that just fills it up, and it's so subtle. It starts, so early on that we don't even realize how, as you're saying, we give our power away, or we give our view of ourselves away. So to the point that we lose sight of who we truly are, of our own power, of our own sovereignty. I know I did for many years. I lost sight of that. Like you were saying, I looked everywhere for the answer. And ultimately, it was me the whole time. And I was whole the whole time. It was just shrouded, a little fog that I had to kind of blow off.
I love that. You said a little fog that I gotta get. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I know that for me, throughout, I'll say my darkest times, my lowest moment, I would get a glimpse of me, of the real me or the old me. And I would always dismiss it because of what I had been told. And I think that that is why we have this when we're in that searching mode, when we're again trying to find who, what religion, what God, what book, what person, what man, what woman, whatever is going to have the answers for me and it's going to help fix me. That we dismiss that the answer is us or the answer is you. And I found that it became more and more difficult because I was so busy looking everywhere else that when I was in my own face, I couldn't look at. And in a lot of people that I talk to, I hear that a lot of us have had that where we had those times, those periods that it was really hard to look at ourselves in the eyes in the mirror because of all the guilt and all the shame and all the things that you've been told that you are not or that you cannot. And it just drives that wedge, which is crazy when you really think about it and you realize it. It's like, how the hell do I have a wedge between me and me?
Right.
We all up in here together. What what the hell? That don't even make sense.
Mm.
But it happens.
I think of the
But it
messages that we give kids. Oh, don't be full of yourself. Don't be prideful. No, absolutely be full of yourself. Be so full of yourself that you're able to give to people from the overflow of you. And it's that false humility that we have pounded into us, that in addition to all the other stuff. But it is this false, like, oh, I'm not all that, I can't be all that. Yes, you are. You're a radiant being of the universe. You are indeed all that.
absolutely. I think that it also takes for you to reconcile all the foolery and the foolishness and the bullshit within yourself. And then you can, it's like the stages of grief and the stages of
Hmm.
healing and the stages of forgiveness. Once you're in there and you get to working on you, right? And you get to the point that you're like, you know what? Okay. Yeah, I may not like this little thing here about me. However, it ain't that bad. And it does sets me apart from others. We have this thing that what is it? The comparison. There it is.
Yeah.
That we're always as children. Oftentimes we hear, well, why can't you be more like this one or that one? Or why can't you do whatever you're doing or trying to do like this one or that one? It was something that I always told my children growing up. If God, source, the universe, whatever you call it, wanted all of us to be exactly the same, we would be,
Yep.
but we're not. We're not. We all have different features. We're different shapes, sizes, all of these things. We all have different interests, different passions. We all speak differently. Even if you speak the same language, you still speak differently. What might excite you may not excite me
Hmm.
and vice versa. We're not supposed to be carbon freaking copies of each other, but it's something that's very common, that comparison. And so you get so caught up in, okay, either figuring out how to mimic somebody else based on what you see,
Yeah.
based on what you see, not realizing that most of us, if not all of us, are wearing some sort of persona or mask because of what we've already been fed that we need to be, how we need to show up, how we need to talk, how we need to walk, how we need to do our hair, or what the hell ever. To the point that we get so wrapped up in all of this that we don't even realize that ain't even who the hell I am. Or you do realize it and then you beat yourself up because you feel like you don't measure up or you're not meeting the standard and all of that. Again, maybe you your own standard. That's why you're not measuring up when it comes to somebody else, because you a
Mhm.
whole other set of rules. You a whole other situation. And that's what you're not being, which is why you feel how you feel.
Absolutely. And it's so funny. As you were talking, I was like thinking, society doesn't appreciate anyone that deviates from the norm. We don't like that. But I think you have to get to a point in your life where you question what that norm is. Like, what is that? Who instituted that? And for what benefit? Like, and that's the other thing I always think about, like, who benefits from me playing small? Who benefits from me fitting into a little box that is palatable for somebody else? Ultimately, that's not what I want to do. It's me. I want to please me. And a big piece of my journey, as you were talking about, is self compassion. I spent a lot of time, I had a lot of anger at myself, a lot of guilt, a lot of disappointment that I really had to get radical and do a radical sense of self acceptance. Like, okay, this is who I am, good, bad, ugly. This is what I've done. This is who I've been. These are the choices I've made. And I can honestly say now, with having done this work for a while, that I can say that at any point in time, I did the best I knew how at that moment with those resources. And that has to be enough because I can't go back and change it. And I'm not going to beat myself up over it. So ultimately, self compassion has been a big, big piece of my journey.
Yeah. I think that that is a big piece of all of our journey, honestly, because for whatever reason, mannerisms popped in my head, but that's not what it is. After you've heard so many things about what you're not, what you don't have, whatever, then you start mimicking that, even if nobody else is saying it anymore, because it's got in there and it's infected you.
Yeah.
You do it to yourself.
We are truly our own worst enemies at times,
Oh my goodness.
without a doubt.
Oh my
And
goodness.
so to ourselves,
Yes.
in ways that, I mean, I have caught myself talking to myself in ways I would never talk to anyone else. And it's like, whoa, no, 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 no.
Not only, yes, and you're right. And not only would you not speak to anyone else in that manner, say you walked in a room and someone was speaking to someone that you really cared about, the
Right.
way that you talk to you, you would lose your shit.
Mm-hmm. I'd go all mama bear on them.
Do you hear me? You would lose your shit.
You know,
You are doing that to yourself. So, yes, self compassion is a huge, huge part, I feel, of everyone's healing journey because whether we say it out loud or not, you're absolutely right. We are. We are our own worst enemy. There is not a bully out there who treats us or abuses us worse than we abuse ourselves.
100%.
And
100%.
I feel like that's definitely the first step in any healing journey that, hey, you got to get in there and you got to be like, all right, look here, sugar. I did an interview not too long ago and she summed it up. I think I think it was it Sarah? And she was like, yeah, you're going through all this, and then this, it's that bitch in your head that's just acting a
Yeah.
plum fool all the time. And it's like, exactly, that's exactly it.
Yep.
That is exactly it. Because again, if someone was talking to your child like that, or your wife, your husband, your mother, your grandmother, or even just a really good friend, you would act a damn fool. Even if you're not a violent person, you might whoop somebody ass that day. Because who you
Mm-hmm.
talking to?
Yep.
But we do that to ourselves. And it's terrible, like for myself, I think what helped me to become more aware of it and cognizant of it and snap out of it more quickly is to realize that, okay, if I'm beating up on myself in this manner, what would be the reaction of my children if
Mm,
they heard that? Again, you walk in the room and somebody's berating you. Wait, what?
yeah.
Like you said, if that happened to one of your children or, somebody that you're very protective of, you would go mama bear and maul the hell out of everything and everybody,
Mm-hmm.
would nothing be able to stop you. And so I got to really thinking about that. Like, how would my children react if they heard these conversations? How would
Mm,
my husband react if he heard? these conversations.
Yeah.
Because I have this thing that even when we don't realize that our words are powerful, and sometimes we just say stuff, and
Hmm.
you're doing something and it doesn't come out right, and you call yourself stupid,
Yep.
whatever, because you don't think about it. And it's just like, no. And anytime I hear them do, wait a minute, hold on. Why are you talking to, I don't know who child you're talking to, but you're not talking to my child because I don't play that. That's to try to help them to come out of that, even though I still have those moments all up in here myself. My husband, I'm like, wait a minute, whose husband you talking to like that?
Hmm.
Come over there because I will.
And it's funny too, we'll put ourselves down, we'll cut ourselves off at the knees, and then we'll expect us to go out there and do our best job. Like, that doesn't make a lick of sense. That's not how you inspire anyone. Like, anyone. And certainly not the person
Right.
closest to you, which is, of course, you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And then, or you have those moments where you're like, I don't have any support. Nobody's on my side. Blah, blah, blah. Well, Sugarfoot,
Yeah.
you got you.
Yep. It's
You
the only
got
one you
you.
really need.
Yeah, you got you. So, you know, you be your cheerleader. You cheer you on. You encourage you. Something my husband says it all the time. And I'm like, yeah, that's absolutely it. You teach people how to treat you.
Yep.
Quick pause, love. If you're feeling the call to expand your healing gifts, or if you're finally ready to trust that you are real, then Embody the Flame is exactly what you're looking for. It's not just another certification. It's a sacred journey. It's a 3-part rite of passage through the maiden mother chrome within you, where Kundalini Reiki meets ancient feminine wisdom and, of course, dragon fire energy. Now, this is for healers, priestesses, guides, any spiritual entrepreneur or individual who is ready to fully rise in their power and lead with integrity, confidence, and soul. Right now, I have an early bird pricing that is open. And special bonus, if you're a member of the Temple Phoenix and the Serpent, then you receive 50% off. Now, you know in your gut and in your soul if this is for you. And if you feel it, trust the nudge. Check the show notes or DM me if you're interested and need more details. Now, let's get back to the magic. Sometimes you got to go back and re-educate you on how to treat you. And then once it gets good to you, then you're just like, oh, okay, all right. Yeah, I like this. And it's a process, but it becomes a whole lot easier. Sometimes you have to encourage you. You might be your only cheering section or your only cheerleader at different stages because depending on what it is, you're not going to be able to explain it to anybody
Right.
adequately enough for them to really know what's happening. And so yeah, you got to get in there and do that for yourself. I think it was when we were talking how we came up with the whole honored yourself.
Mm.
Because in our search for always trying to find the answers, we do begin to look up to people and look up to things and put them on pedestals
Yeah.
and all of that. And we never do that for ourselves. So as we begin to really come back to ourselves and stop the self-inflicted wounds and things, we have to begin to honor ourselves. We have to lift ourselves up to counteract all the damage that we have done to ourselves with our words, with our actions, with our disregarding of ourselves, with us putting things and people and everything else above us. Because
Yeah.
that just reinforces those low vibrational feelings and those demeaning, berating conversations that we have in our head that nobody else can hear. So, we have to get to a point where we're creating new habits and new
Mhm.
practices. And honoring ourselves is, I believe, one of the most important that we have because it helps us get in a new flow and a new momentum and changes our energy, changes our perspective, changes our health, changes our life, changes everything.
Yep.
Everything is revolving around you because it's you. Your world starts in here. So you have to do that and not in a conceited way, in a way that is all the negative things that people tell you you shouldn't do.
Right.
But that's how you love on you.
I love the word cherish. When I
Yeah.
thought about that word, I'm like, do I cherish myself? Like truly cherish, like treat myself like something precious to me. And
Yes.
that was really enlightening for me. My older daughter, she's 19 now. She used to follow me around, and anytime I would say I'm stupid or oh that was dumb, she'd be like, no, it isn't, mommy. No, it isn't. So it was like having my own little conscience following me everywhere. And it really made me aware of how often I hammered that point home to myself. And it was really as she's awakening me really to what the damage I'm doing. I really thought about that word. Like, do I cherish myself? Or the other thing I've been thinking a lot about lately is present me honoring future me? Am I doing things today that are going to be honoring future me? And
Mm-hmm.
I love these little thought exercises because they really kind of put things into clarity
Yeah.
for you. It's like, oh no, I
Yeah.
am not. Or oh yes, I
Yeah.
am.
Those are definitely awesome examples because your kids, a lot of times, they do sometimes help us. And we often look at it as, okay, you know what, you're just using this as a way to get back to me for when I popped you or when I told you no or but a lot of times, yes, they are that reflection sometimes that we don't necessarily want to see. And also
Absolutely.
understanding that we're their first teachers and they're watching us because they're learning from us. And so that's definitely a thing that you have to be like, "Ooh, okay, yeah. What am I showing them?
Yeah.
What am I teaching them? Do I want them to mimic this behavior?" Because again, yeah, somebody talking crazy to one of my babies, oh, his baby is gonna be a
Mm-hmm.
problem. Well, when you're teaching them to do that because
Yeah.
you're doing it to you, and they love you
Yeah.
as you love them, and so they're looking like, "Wait a minute, what?" That too is what made me fall in love with shadow work. And I know for some people they run and they're like, "No, that sounds crazy, that sounds dark, and that sounds scary. It seems like too much heavy lifting."
Yeah.
It is because it depends on how much crap that you got. You know, we were talking about all the shit that's built up on top of who you really are, because you're up under there. Sometimes it's really deep that we got to dig into this hole of, ugh.
Mm-hmm. The muck and the mire.
Yeah. What I found is that once you've said, okay, I'm going to cherish your word, myself in the present, right? What's done is done. What has happened. I can't do anything about it. But what I can do is change my thought pattern about how I'm going to remember it, about how I'm going to look at it and see, hey, okay, maybe there are some things that I can glean from this. There were some lessons in it because everything that we experience, the people that we've come in contact, they were there to teach us something.
Yeah. There's
And
wisdom in
so
the wound. There is
absolutely.
always
And
wisdom in the
so
wound.
often we get caught up in how we felt at that moment
Mm-hmm.
that we don't see that. And so that's why, again, like why I love shadow work and being able to learn that, okay, I can go back to that version of myself. I can go back to that moment, that experience, whatever it was, and look at it again and decide, okay, I'm going to look for the lesson in this. I'm going to look for the positive in this. I'm going to look for that piece of power that I thought was there to tarnish or hurt or demean or what, and flip it from a negative to a positive.
You know what's
And I found that when you do that, that's a whole nother level of you that you've been missing out on for forever. And a lot of times too, those are unique things that add to us and that maybe other people haven't experienced that now we can use in our life, in our friendships, in our various relationships, and even in our businesses to help people not have to take so long in the journey as we have.
Right.
because that's my main thing. Like with my children, I didn't begin to forget all of the other foolishness. I was in my 40s. And
Yeah.
so we want our children to do better than us. And so when I learned these things, it's like some of the first ones that I
Yep.
share it with, because I want you to know this and get this and be able to experience the positive before. I don't want you to wait till you're 40,
Right.
but it's so amazing when it happens.
And you get to reclaim those bits of yourself. It's just amazing to be able to say, I'm going to pull this from the muck and the mire, and I'm going to dust it off, and I'm going to get it and look at it from all the angles, and I'm going to see the beauty in it. And I'm going to put it in my pouch, and that's going to be part of me, and I'm moving forward and further on my journey. And it's really incredibly empowering to reclaim. I know for me, a big piece of the past probably 2 or 3 years of my life has been deep in shadow work. And one of the things that's been very fascinating for me is I've been pulling apart thoughts, feelings versus the actual situation, the circumstances, what really happened, and come to find out a lot of what I think is reality is just my thoughts and feelings about what happened. But I've created a reality around that to the point that that is what is truth now. And it's like, no, why don't we just, for, funsies, take a step back and look at it and say, maybe that isn't true. What would that mean? What would have happened then? And what are your options? And so it's been fascinating to me to realize how much I've gone through life feeling and accepting my feelings as truth. And wow, that was eye opening.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I have come to the point that and I've had so many experiences that, wait a minute. You mean that this amazing gift was hidden right here
Mm,
the whole time?
yeah.
Because I was too busy not wanting to look at it. I was too busy trying to hide what happened or how something made me feel
Mhm.
in that moment. When you revisit those memories and those feelings and you realize that, ooh, I did not see the full picture.
Mm, yeah,
I've experienced that a lot with things from my childhood, but you're looking at it now through a different lens because you have a
absolutely.
lot more experiences and your mindset, your perception of things have changed so many times over the years that it's a whole different you that's looking back at that.
Yep, 100%.
And that's part of how we heal ourselves, because now we can share that knowledge that we've gained and that positive, teachable moment, learning experience. Hey, this helped us
Yeah,
with that former version of you. And that's how I'm going to honor myself right now. And I'm also gonna honor the future me. You see these things, and something that we were taught when we were kids as well, to always want to make that future version of you proud. I'm gonna make you proud. I feel like that's a great thing and a great way to be, but also be proud of me right now. I don't have
exactly.
to wait to be proud of me. Waited
Mm-hmm.
long enough to be proud of me.
Yep.
So now I'm going to celebrate me right here. I'm going to celebrate me in what I'm doing. And I'm going to accept that, hey, guess what? Yeah, I'm a little different. I'm a little strange sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little weird. But you know what? I kind of like it. I
It's
like it.
when you can really and truly fall in love with yourself. It is the most amazing thing in the world because you get to see these things and you think about it with people you love. The same things that they think are annoying about themselves, you find endearing. And it's no
Yeah.
different with ourselves. Like those things we think other people are perceiving as annoying. Most of the time, number one, they're thinking of it as endearing. And number two, ultimately, it's you. You need to see it as endearing. You need to see it as like, oh, aren't I cute? Look at me doing
Yeah.
those silly things.
Yeah,
And it
exactly.
shifts the energy so profoundly when you can really bring in that genuine affection for yourself. Like, oh, I
Yeah.
like me. I think I'm kind of
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, I know, right? When you think about it, your children, your loved ones, your friends, and a lot of times it is those little quirks
Yep.
those little different things that they do, that's what drew you in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because you're like, oh, I like that. I want to get to know more about them, about who they are. So it's crazy when that dawns on you and you realize it, and you're like, then why the hell have I been beating myself up all of these
Right.
years?
Yeah.
You know, because I'm goofy as hell for no reason. And like, duh, what are we doing here?
It was funny. My ex-husband actually kind of sent me down the path of radical self-acceptance, whether or not he meant to. During our divorce, it was very contentious, very, just it was not a good time. At one point, he's like, "Well, I'm going to tell everyone what you're really like." And I thought about it, and I'm like, "Well, how about if I tell everyone what I'm really like? Well, how about if I get in front of the bus here and just be like, it's who I am?" And so I was like, I'm going to radically accept myself. It was in 2015. And I remember it was very conscious. I'm like, I'm going to accept all of me. I'm going to talk about all of me, the good, the bad, the ugly. And the people that are going to be aligned are going to be aligned, and the people that aren't. And ultimately, it's about me. And he's going to have no ammo. And it was one of the most healing aspects of my journey. It was like,
Yes.
yeah, okay, yeah, tell people what I'm like. I don't care.
Mhm. Yeah.
I'll tell them
Yeah.
what I'm like.
Exactly. 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 And isn't it amazing how it seems like the weirdest times
Yep.
that things like that are sparked or triggered within us. I have a similar experience. I didn't see it at that time though as self-acceptance, but I guess now that I think about it, it's kind of like the same thing. I'm not gonna wait for you to tell on me
Mm-hmm.
in a way that you're trying to use something that is just who I am that I can't necessarily
Yeah.
help as a bad thing to make me look a certain way to certain
Yeah.
people. Hey, guess what? I am who I am. I did what I did and I said what the I said.
Yep.
So, hey, guess what? I don't need you telling me. I tell them myself.
Yep.
And so that's when I began to really like, you know what? I'm gonna stop because I went down this rabbit hole for years of quadruple thinking everything before I said it.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
I have been told for so long, well, you're just mean and you're rude and you're so nonchalant and you're so this, that, and the other. Because yeah, the core of me, I don't have a filter. I said what I said. I don't have a filter. That it just is what it is. I
Mm-hmm.
call it how I see it. But again, trying to be liked, trying to be accepted, and all those things. So you think about everything, and to the point that you get so into this that you realize, well, wait a minute. After a while, when you need to say something, now you can't
Yeah. Yeah.
because you done locked up, clogged up, stuffed down. Now your throat chakra is all kind of
Mm-hmm.
jacked all to hell, and you can't scream help
Yep.
if Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, and all of them got you hemmed up in the corner
Yep.
because you done did this. Yeah, guess what? Now, hell no, I'm gonna say it. If you can't handle it, okay, cool. You don't need to be in my circle in the first place. You know what I'm saying? And especially with all of these conversations about authenticity and all of that. Okay. Everybody wants to, well, I'm just authentically me. Okay. That's great. So how come you get to be authentically you, but I don't get to be authentically me?
Mm. Funny that, huh?
How the hell does that work? It's
Mm-hmm.
okay when you do it, but it's a problem when I do it. No, that ain't how this goes. I love that radical self-acceptance and being able to just get to the point that you're like, you know what, this is who I am. And not in a way how we sometimes have these people that well, that's just the way I am.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
just the way
Yeah.
I am. It's a difference in saying, I'm gonna accept me who I am at my core. Yes, I am very loving, nurturing, but I'm gonna also tell you about yourself.
Yep.
Both things can very well be true. They are. Hello. Hi, I'm Tonesha. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? And I shouldn't have to always try to juggle, okay, who I have to say this one this way to that one. I have to say it this way to that. Hey, who got time for that? No, I got shit to do. I ain't got no time. No, we're not doing it. And so I love that part of what you do is help people to get back to the core of you and realize, okay, yeah, I've been people pleasing for way too long. No, I'm not doing it anymore. If you don't like
Ooh.
it, kick rocks. I could give a shit. Bye bye.
Hmm.
You know, and so I love that, helping to cultivate that deeper relationship with you, because if you can't be you, then none of your relationships are authentic.
No, no,
If you
absolutely.
can't be you, are these people around you that profess to love and care and cherish you, are they just cherishing that mask or that persona?
Hmm. Yep.
Because they don't know the real you.
I always say I'm a recovering people pleaser. I spent
You
decades,
too. I say that too.
decades in that, very codependent, very much insecure attachment style, like a lot of clinging and being very afraid to be not loved. Um,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
and and like you said, you have to get to that point where you're like, you know what, this is exhausting. I'm bending over backwards. I'm turning myself into a pretzel to make everybody else happy. I'm miserable.
I'm killing myself.
Exactly. There's got to be more to life than this. I don't know what
Yeah.
it is, but the first thing I want to do is lay down all these weight of everybody else's expectations.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
And
because this shit ain't working.
nope, like this is just too much. And it was funny you were
Absolutely.
talking about the throat chakra many years ago. Well, about 10, 12 years ago now, I was getting strep throat all the time, all the damn time. And to the point now, I was in my 40s, and they're like, "Yeah, we are going to have to take out your tonsils if you get strep one more time," which is not nothing when you're in your 40s. Like it's kind of a
Right.
big deal. So
Right.
I was like, and I was just starting to study energy work then. So yeah, probably about 12 years ago now. And I was like, I wonder if it's throat chakra. I probably need to speak my truth. And that's when I started talking about the abuse. And do you know,
Yeah.
to this day, I have never had strep throat again,
Mm-hmm.
which
Yeah.
just shows the power of holding on to those weights, the impact on us physically, let alone emotionally, spiritually, mentally.
All of that.
You know,
Absolutely.
it's
Absolutely.
profound, the weight of it all.
Yeah, yeah. And my opinion on that is I think that that's why we have all of these medications and all of these things, and they always trigger something else because it's really inside of us, you know? And so then we're trying to hide all of these different things, and it's just building up and building up and building up. Your body is reacting to all the extra foolishness. It's like, wait a minute, this doesn't belong in here. Get it out.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Get it out.
Yeah.
And because we're not looking within, we're looking on the outside, then we end up adding all this other on top of the crap that's already there until it's just a big ass confused, out of whack, off balance, unaligned mess.
Yep.
Do you have to, get to the point that's like, no, mm-mm, I don't like it no more,
It's
no more.
funny.
Our
At one point
bodies tell
during
us.
my shadow work journey, I laughed. I remember it very distinctly. I'm like, writing in my journal, and I'm looking at things, and I'm like, who am I? Am I just a series of maladaptations? Like, it really felt like, is there any me in there? Like, who the hell am I? And I think that is like a phase of it when you kind of look at everything and you're like, wow, that is just me not wanting to deal with this. And this is just me not wanting to deal with that. And well, you're kind of wading through it like, oh, okay, there I am somewhere in the bottom. But okay,
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
figure out what to do once I find myself again. But it was
Yeah, it's like, what the
very,
hell is this? Ugh, what is
yeah,
that?
exactly. Like, oh dear.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Sounds like you're talking about my journey, but it's okay. It's fine. It's fine.
It's funny. You got to keep a sense of
Yes,
humor because
you
it's some
you
crazy
too.
shit goes down.
Look, look. Absolutely, absolutely. So, I mean, even though apparently we can talk about this for damn ever, I want to hear about what you've got going on right now. Give you an opportunity to tell us how we can work with you and experience all of your magic.
I'm actually starting a new Reiki cohort starting on Sunday. So, and then actually there's going to be a Saturday class as well. So if anybody is interested in learning Reiki 1, which is profoundly helpful, especially if you're really on the beginning of your awakening journey or you feel like you're being called higher. It's an incredible modality to explore. And this year, in addition to my usual Reiki 1 step, I'm going to also include my master class on boundaries, both energetic and
Ooh,
interpersonal, from years and years of hard-won knowledge here. But it's great, and because I really do believe that, especially for those of us that are working in the energetic realm, we've got to have really good boundaries. It's incredibly, cannot be understated how important that is. And
that
then
is very
later in the
true.
spring, I'm hoping right now, May, maybe June, I'm going to have my group coaching program ready to go, which would be really great. I'm really excited about that. It's going to be about a 10-week shadow work journey that I'm going to walk you
Yes.
through. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to incorporate, the energy healing, the mindset stuff, the somatic piece. It's going to be really, body, mind, and spirit approach. Really looking
Yeah.
forward to that. And then by the end of the year, I should have my membership going. So keep an eye out for that, which I'm really
Okay.
excited
I
about.
love it.
I have a
Yes.
little
It sounds like you've got some amazing stuff coming.
I have a little Facebook group called Mystic Healing Alchemy, which I definitely invite everybody to. It's a great place where we discuss somatics, self-growth, energy work. The divine feminine is a big piece of my work. All these things that make my heart pitter patter. That's what we talk about in my group. I definitely love to have as many people join as would, feel aligned, feel called to it. It's a very tight-knit group, surprisingly so, which is really nice. I'm really pleased about that.
That's great. You said it's called Mystic Healing Alchemy.
That's it.
Okay. I'll be there.
Yay.
That's right up my alley. Yeah, that's what I like. Let me write that down so I don't forget. Oh, that is amazing, amazing, amazing. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me, Michelle. I really appreciate
This has been
um,
great.
you being open to this conversation. I will be jumping in your group so I can see what you've got going on and offer any insights that I can or help you out
I
however I
appreciate that.
can. So yes, again, this has been great. I really appreciate you coming and hanging out with me. Love this conversation. We could do this forever.
Hmm.
Um, is there anything that you would like to add before we close out?
I think that's about it. Oh, I do take one-to-one clients for coaching and Reiki services and tarot as well. I kind of glossed right over that, but I do one-to-one clients.
When we're multi-passionate, we do that.
Uh-huh.
I do it all the time. I do it all the time. It's like somebody else said, "Well, why didn't you?" Because I forgot. Why are you judging
ADHD
me?
in full swing here.
Why are you judging me? Oh yeah, ADHD all over the place. Just yeah. We will definitely have some more of these conversations because I
Absolutely.
love this. I love your energy. I love everything that you're doing. And I love that you're not ashamed to share your journey so that others can also feel empowered to be able to do that and to heal themselves and to help heal others. So I say thank you so much for that. I appreciate you greatly. I've loved this conversation. So until next time, guys, cheers to your transformation. Thank you for tuning in for another episode of You Are Immeasurable. I hope something in today's conversation sparked a remembering, a shift, or even just a softening in your spirit. If you loved this episode, do me a favor. Please share it with someone who needs it and make sure you're following the show so that you never miss a new activation. You can connect with me over on Instagram or Facebook at Agitator Hyde. That's my handle on all platforms. DMs are always open if you want to go deeper. If you have questions or you just want to share how the episode landed for you, or you can also comment on whichever platform you are listening to this episode on. Always remember your power, your path, and your purpose are already within you. You are absolutely not broken. You are blossoming. You are becoming. And remember, you are immeasurable. So until next time, be well, be bold, and stay true to the divine within you.